Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your very first time stopping by, you are very welcome. My name is Raisa and I do videos here on YouTube about lifestyle, education and vlogs, and just that's where I share my experience as an international student here in Canada. I am actually outside doing this video because you guys, I've been struggling with lighting and it's not just working inside the house, so I have to just come outside. So you might be hearing cars here and there coming in and or passing along the road and stuff, but just bear with me while I film this video, okay? So let me continue the intro. And I was saying I was welcoming you guys. For all those who always come back to watch my videos, thank you so much for always coming back, and I do appreciate that. Thank you. So this video is a video request by a person requested a video, and I thought to shed more light on it, which is about the concept of credit hours in Canada. I would even say in my university, most especially, because which could apply in other universities, it doesn't strictly apply to my university. But the concept of credit hours, I'm just going to explain it. Some people don't get it, and it's something that you should know about, because that's what is going to help you determine how you're going to take your classes, how you can calculate your GPA and stuff like that, right? So you definitely need to have an idea about what it is. As you guys all know, my notes are down here. I must always refer to them in case I need it, and I'm going to be using them to talk to you guys about it, okay? So basically, credit hours are just an equivalent of time that you would spend in the classroom. I'm going to just define it based on what the University of Regina website defines it as, and just bear with me a second here. Yeah, so credit hours, it is a unit of measure representing the equivalent of an hour of instruction per week over the entire term. And in brackets they wrote an hour. In our university, in a year of R, is 50 minutes. Some schools will use 60 minutes for that, but for U of R we use 50 minutes. It's applied towards the total number of hours needed for completing requirements for a degree, a diploma, a certificate, or any other formal reward. So this is stated on the university's website. That is what they define as credit hours in the University of Regina, and you can still apply to other universities. It's just that the hour there, it depends on the school. So the way it is so 1 credit hour is equals to 1 lecture hour per week. So for example, say you have a course is 3 credit hours. That means that you're going to have to take that class during the week 3 times. So you go to class 3 times a week for that particular class. Now if you have to take at least 4 classes, and each of them are 3 credit hours each, then you will be in school for the 3 hours for each of those classes every week. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. If you're a full-time student, it's a maximum of 15 credit hours, so that's 5 classes. That's a full course load. If you want to take more than 5 classes, you need approval, and depending on the GPA that you have accrued, or they have to approve you. You cannot just go and take 6 classes without approval. It's not going to work. So the university has to approve you for any other credit hours past the maximum full load, okay? And for students who are enrolled in 9 or more credit hours are considered as full-time students. If you take below 9 credit hours, then you're a part-time student, you're not a full-time student. And you guys all know that as an international student, you came here to study, you have to take full-time classes. There's no debate. You have to take full-time classes, except something happens and you've told immigration or you discussed immigration that you cannot do that, then that's different. But you have to maintain your status as an international student. You have to be a full-time student. In the University of Regina, lectures are held in 2 ways. Either you take 50 minutes classes or 75 minutes. So 50 minutes classes are held 3 times a week, and 75 minutes classes are held 2 times a week. And that goes to say, if any class that you go for 3 times a week, you just know that you're going to be there for 50 minutes each, right? But the ones that you go 2 times a week, know that you're going to spend over an hour, so 75 minutes a week, which makes up for the 50 minutes 3 times a week. Does that make sense? You just go 2 times a week for one, and the other one you go 3 times a week. Full load classes of 5 classes or 15 credit hours applies to undergraduates. If you're a graduate student, it's different. For graduate students, the minimum full course load is 12 credit hours, so you need 12 credit hours for minimum if you're a graduate student, okay? And for full-time enrollment, you need to be enrolled in a 6 credit hours class. So the university is going to give you a list of classes, right? And based on that list of classes, you're going to pick which of the classes that you want to register for, and that's going to account for the length of time they're going to stay in the university. The fewer classes you take, the fewer credit hours you get, and the longer you're going to take to graduate, because you have to get to the maximum credit hours that you need in order to graduate. Does that make sense? Here you need to know how many credit hours you have to accumulate or you have to have before you can graduate. In my program, I did engineering, right? And for engineering, you're supposed to have at least 136 credit hours before you can graduate. That's about 4.5 years that it takes, okay? And for other faculties it's different. I think for science it's about 120 hours, and then for arts I think it's still 120. I'm not sure about arts, but the university website has all that information. I know for engineering because I took engineering. Say for example, you go to your faculty and they give you a whole course list of courses that you're supposed to take. You have to be able to plan it for each semester. You know, like this semester I'm going to take 4 classes. It's going to help me gain, that's 4 times 3 is going to give you 12. So you have 12 credit hours for that semester, right? Now based on the 136 credit hours that you're supposed to get before you graduate, take away 12 from it, it's going to give you 124. It's going to give you 124. So you know you have 124 more classes to take, and it's left to you that's going to decide, because all these credit hours are spread over the course of the years. Some people have been able to graduate within 3 years of their studies, especially for engineering. Some people have graduated in 3 years, some people have done it in 4 years. Mine took longer because I did my internship. So if you decide that you want to graduate in let's say your program starts in 2022, right, and you decide that you want to graduate in 4 years, so you're going to plan your classes such that you take like 3 classes. Maybe if you take 3 classes every semester, then you're going to spend a longer time. Let's count it. Normally there are 9 semesters, right? For engineering there are 9 semesters, because one semester is compulsory for spring and summer for us. If not, basically it's going to be 8 semesters. That's the fall and winter for every year. I always say that spring and summer is optional. You don't have to take classes in spring and summer unless you want to. But for engineering, there's a particular semester that you must take classes in the spring and summer, because those classes are offered only during that time. You don't have a choice. So figure out which classes you want to take. So say for example now, if you're taking just 3 classes every time, like every semester, fall and winter you take 3, so it means you have taken 6 in that year. Let's say the next year comes again, fall and winter you take another 6, that's 12. You're taking only 12 in 2 years. So it's going to make your whole process very long, because if you multiply by 8 semesters in 4 years, that's going to give you like 48 credit hours that you've gained, when some other people have gained already, if they're taking 5, they've taken over 5 classes. So 10 times 8, they've had like 80, and you're still on 48, so that's giving you a long time. So they're taking more classes than you, so it's going to give you a longer time to stay in school, which is fine if you want to go at a slow pace. Because some people want to take a very huge course load and then they end up failing. If you take a full course load, you put your mind to it and then you do well on it, or you take a smaller one and then you keep working your way through it, and then you keep increasing over time. Like the best is always 4 has always worked for me. I like 4 because I used to work as well, right? I'm going to also do a video on how I balance work, my experience on balancing work and school, like full-time school load and working part-time on the side with side jobs. The credit hours just help you to know how long you're going to spend in school. In a nutshell, the credit hour just represents 1 credit hour just represents 1 lecture hour per week. 3 credit hours, which is what most classes represent, will give you 3 lecture hours per week, and it's used to track down your progress within your university and the number of times that you go to the university or you spend in school at the time you're taking your classes. Another thing I want to shed light on here is the fact that each of these classes that are 3 credit hours, 1 credit, 2 credit hours, 3 credit hours, it includes your lab, it includes your assignments, it includes your seminars, everything. So that's what the 3 credit hours includes. Okay, and you're awarded credits for each course that you take. If you fail a course, know that you will not get credit for it. If you pass it, then you get awarded, you will have credits for that particular course, right? Because failing the course does not count, right? You have lost that time. You failed and you failed. It's done and dusted. You have to repeat the course until you get that credit hour awarded to you, or you pass that credit hour. So the labs, the assignments, everything, they are used to measure your GPA, and because your GPA is being measured based on credit hours, you have to pass all of those classes. You have to pass them. There's no room for failure. You don't have to fail in this place. There's nothing like I failed the class. You cannot fail the class. You should not fail the class. Okay, if you fail the class, just know that you still have to pass it regardless, because before you graduate, you must pass that course. There are no two ways around it. You must pass it. I'm struggling to look at the camera, but there's too much distraction outside. So your GPA is measured based on your credit hours that you get for school, right? I'm going to show you guys how to calculate the GPA if you guys don't mind. I don't know, the calculation is just suiting me to do, just because I'm an engineer. I have to calculate. I must do calculation. But yeah, you can just follow me along, and it's going to help you too. So if you're starting school and you want to be calculating your GPA, so when you look at your GPA, at least you're not surprised, you're not shocked, or you're not like something is not right here, or something is not making sense we're not supposed to make. You know that you're already prepared. You already know what you're expecting. If you even see something that is wrong, you'll be like, it's error. So based on your credit hours, you get points for the scores that you get in that class. Then the school is going to divide it by the credits or something like that. I'll show you in the calculation. I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm just going to write it down so you can follow along with me. That's if you're interested though. But if you're not interested, at least I hope I'll be able to explain what credit hours is. Credit hours is just there to track your progress while in school, while you're going to classes, and your results, because your GPA is calculated based on the credit hours. So everything is just circulating around your credit hours. So you definitely need to put in a lot of work to be able to keep your GPA where you want it to be at. For some people, they don't care about GPA, so they're like they don't care. As long as they pass, they have passed. But mind you, if you're in engineering, if you have below 60, they'll kick you out of the program, or you will not continue. I don't know for other faculties, but I think it's also a way that they track it, right? You're supposed to at least be getting a certain GPA in place, because below that, what are you doing in the program? You need to go and rethink if that's what you want to do, because they don't want anybody to fail. They want you to be doing what you want to do. If that one is not working for you, now you can switch to something else, right? So that's what they want. Anyways, if you watch this video up to this point, I do appreciate your time, and I hope you find this helpful in one way or the other. Please also do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you learned a thing or two, and also make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. You that is there, I'm looking at you. If you have not done so yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? And thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. So guys, as I was explaining, right, that GPAs are calculated based on credit hours, right? Say for example, you're supposed to take a class called ENGG 240, right? So this class has three credit hours. And then you have another class that, let's say you have English. Say for example, in this class, so that's the 240, you scored 80%, so 80%, right? These are your scores, right? So these are the scores that you got, and then this is the class. Now we can draw a table and say scores, and then you get the credit hours here. So 80 in the first course, 90, 95, and 85. All of these are 3 credits, 3 credits, 3 credits, and this one is 1 credit, right? What the university is going to do is they're going to do this times this, they'll multiply all of this, okay? They'll multiply them by each other. And let's see if you multiply this, what do you get? I have my calculator here, so you're going to do 80 times 3. That's going to give you 240 points that you get for this class. And then they'll do 90, so this is already 270. You don't even need to punch it, but just for those who don't, 270 just to be sure. And then we're gonna do 95 times 3, 285. And then this obviously is going to be 85, because that's 85 times 1, right? So you have to also know that classes with three credit hours, you have to score high, because they're the ones that have the most credit hours. For some schools they have up to 4, right, like I said. And you know, if you're taking a class with 4 credit hours, you want to bump your score up to at least, you know, maybe 300, because that's what's going to help you to bump your GPA, right? So now if you take a total, so all of these are points that you've gotten from each of those classes. Sorry, my writing, I'm just writing fast here just so we don't take a lot of time. So we're going to add all of this, okay, just in order to calculate the GPA. So you get 240, I'm punching here. You're going to do 240, that's from this, plus 270 plus 285 plus 85. So you're getting a total of 880 points from these classes, okay? And now, in order to get your GPA based on these points you've gotten, they're going to add the total of all these credit hours. So it's going to give you, so this is 3, 6, 9, 10. So you divide this by 10. Once you divide this by 10, so you're going to do 880 divided by 10. You see that you get 88. So this is going to be your GPA for that. So this is going to be your semester GPA, or the term GPA, as the University of Regina calls it. So you're going to have 88% GPA for this, okay? And that's how they calculate it for the University of Regina, right? In the US, I think in the US they calculate it such that you have your GPA already on the scale of 4, but for us, our GPA is on our results are given in percentages. Then you can convert them based on the grading system to the GPA of over 4, if that makes sense. So this is going to be your term GPA here, right? Yeah, so this is how you can calculate the GPA. If you want to know what this is in University of Regina, I think it's going to be like 3.5 or 3.6, I'm not sure, but yeah, but that's how they calculate it to get to this number here, okay? And that's when you know that at least your GPA is 80, you know you're at 90% GPA, you know you're still at that level, okay? Well, that's it.